there are times when you know that an employee is having performance problems because of issues outside of work. So some things to consider with this personal problems issue. Some employees are dealing with an acute crisis. They're dealing with that's happening right now. Their child just was hospitalized for an unknown disease. Their car was run into and it's out of commission and they can't get to work because they don't have transportation. Their house burned down. That's an acute problem happening right now. And you have some employees whose life is a crisis. Their life is like one of the old country music songs, my mom was back in jail and my truck broke down and my dog died, that kind of thing. We're going to handle those two things differently. With an acute life crisis, something happening right now, I want to be really understanding and caring and compassionate. I might pull back on some of the expectations. I might give them some additional time off. I want to give them a lot of support to help them through this crisis right now. That is not a helpful approach with people who have chronic problems. There's a concept that some of you are familiar about with families where there's substance abuse. There is the person who abuses drugs or alcohol, and there's almost always another family who's the enabler. They enable them to continue with their disorder because they protect them from the consequences of what's happening. Organizations do the same thing. With chronic problems, we enable people. What we're trying to do is I want to help them, and I'm actually helping them get worse. With these folks, I need to maintain their expectations and hold them accountable. And with those folks, I might also remind them of the resources through the Employee Assistance Program. Most of you have EAPs. A way to frame this with employees without stepping across those barriers of personal issues. When they start telling you all of their problems, you need to be the ones to set the boundaries. Because employees, as they start to talk to you about their personal problems, they will eventually tell you something that they didn't mean to tell you. And because there's a difference in power, at no point can they now say, this is none of your business. So I need to be the one to set the boundaries. Because counseling employees on their personal life is an abuse of power. So when they start to tell you all their personal problems, then you just say, again, gentle stop sign, your personal life is none of my business. It's starting to affect you on the job. That is my business. I can help you with that. But I think it would help you to talk to somebody about that. I want you to remind you we've got an employee assistance program. The EAP is free. It's confidential. I won't know if you contact them, but I think it would help you to talk to them. Not a bad idea if your HR department has already done this. Get some business card reminders or brochures that you always have available that you can pull out and hand over to somebody. This process, when I worked at Family Service, one of the things I did was run their EAP, and we were the EAP for about 30 different local companies. And I was out doing training with the supervisors on how to use the EAP. And at the break, one of the guys came up to me and he said, I'm really glad that you're here today. And I said, well, thank you. No, I'm here because I'm glad because you were talking about me. I was a drunk. I lost my wife. I lost my house. I lost my kids. I lost my car. This job's the only thing I had left. And I showed up for work one day, and my boss was there with that guy from HR, and they said, you're going to check yourself into rehab or you're fired. And he reached in his pocket and he pulled out this little token and he said, I get a new one of these next week. It's my 2nd anniversary of sobriety, and this company saved my life. And it did. With severe substance abuse problems, work is the last thing to go, and you have a wonderful opportunity to help people make changes. And that's what your EAP is there for. At the end of the training, the HR guy took me and said, I saw you were talking to Harry over the break. I said, yeah, he seems like a really nice guy. He had a terrible drinking problem. Oh, really? Confidentiality. And he says, yeah, but he got into treatment turned his life around. We made him a supervisor. We couldn't run this place without him. He's helped 4 other guys in the plant get help with their problems. You can really help people make changes, but you have to hold them accountable.